There's something no one tells you when you're falling in love. Love doesn't die all at once. It doesn't explode. It fades, quietly, in the silence, in the moments we stop being curious about each other, in the comfort that slowly turns into emotional distance. Esther Perel once said, "Love rests on two pillars, surrender and autonomy. Our need for togetherness exists alongside our need for separateness." So today, we'll talk about why love fades in long-term relationships. Not because we stop loving, but because we stop paying attention. This is about emotional neglect, forgotten curiosity, and the slow erosion of desire. Let's begin. Most relationships don't end with a dramatic argument. They don't collapse under the weight of infidelity or some major betrayal. They erode, slowly, through silence, through absence, through the lack of presence. It begins with little things. You forget to ask how their day was. You stop touching their hand when you're driving. You don't look them in the eyes when they speak. You're there physically, but emotionally, you've been gone for a while. And the truth is, you might not even notice when it starts. It's subtle. It's the moment you choose scrolling over conversation, the moment you assume you already know what they're thinking, the moment you say, "It's fine," when it isn't. Love doesn't die in an explosion, it dies in neglect. In the 1,000 tiny moments, we choose autopilot over connection. We confuse comfort with closeness. We think that just because we live together, sleep next to each other, raise kids, or pay bills together, that we are still emotionally bonded. But you can be married and still be strangers. You can share a home and still live in different worlds. Esther Perel calls this the quiet crisis of intimacy. Not a lack of love, but a lack of attention. You see, at the start, everything is fascinating. We ask questions, we stay curious, we want to know everything about the other person, their favorite books, their childhood memories, their fears. But slowly, we stop asking. We assume we know. We stop listening like we used to. We stop looking at them with wonder. And in that assumption, something dies. It's not just about communication. It's about presence. It's about being awake to your partner's inner world. Today, now, in this season of life. Because we are not static beings. We are always changing, growing, shifting. And if you're not meeting your partner in their newness, you're meeting a memory of them. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked at your partner, not to assess or judge, but with genuine curiosity? When was the last time you asked, "What have you been dreaming about lately?" Or simply, "How's your heart?" We fear that desire fades because time passes, but time alone doesn't kill love. Disconnection does. And sometimes, it's not even that we don't care, it's that we stop trying. Life gets busy, work is stressful, the kids need something, dinner needs to be made, deadlines stack up. And by the time you sit down together, you're both emotionally bankrupt. But here's the hard truth. Love doesn't survive on convenience. It survives on effort. Not grand gestures, not perfect communication, just small, repeated acts of attention. Sitting with them without your phone, asking a new question, offering a touch when they don't expect it, saying, "I see you" with your eyes, not just your words. So if you're feeling distant right now, if you've looked at the person you love and thought, "Where did we go?" The answer isn't to search the past. It's to return to the present, to stop assuming and start noticing, to stop performing and start feeling again. Because the intimacy you crave doesn't live in the history you've shared. It lives in what you're still willing to build today. Do you expect your partner to be your best friend, therapist, lover, life coach, and emotional support all at once? Most of us do, and that's the problem. We put pressure on love to meet all of our needs, and when one person can't fulfill everything, we start to resent them. But love can't carry that weight. We must learn to meet some of our needs outside the relationship, through purpose, friendships, growth, solitude. Because sometimes space is what brings us closer. There's a silent pressure in modern relationships, the pressure to be everything for one another. Not just lovers, but best friends, coaches, healers, soulmates, safety nets, and mirrors. We're told this is romantic, that this is what deep love looks like. But in truth, it's not romantic, it's exhausting. It's the reason so many couples feel disappointed, even when nothing big is going wrong. You see, one person can love you deeply and still not meet every emotional, spiritual, or intellectual need. That's not failure, that's reality. And it's okay. The myth of total fulfillment creates a fragile foundation. When your partner can't meet an unspoken expectation, you start to resent them, not because they changed, but because they were never meant to hold that much. Desire begins to fade when love becomes obligation. Instead of curiosity, we fall into checklist mode. Did they support me today? Did they compliment me? Did they say the right thing at the right time? But love isn't performance, and people aren't perfect. We lose each other in the pursuit of perfection. Esther Perel often reminds us, desire lives in space, not suffocation. When two people remain individuals, growing, changing, evolving, they bring newness into the relationship. And in that newness, love becomes alive again. Not because we fixed each other, but because we freed each other. You are allowed to have multiple sources of inspiration, to find wisdom in books, friends, mentors, solitude. Your partner doesn't need to be your everything to be your something sacred. When we stop demanding perfection, we make room for love to breathe, and in that breath, desire returns. Here's something that might surprise you. Desire doesn't thrive in closeness. It thrives in distance. In the beginning, we're drawn to the unfamiliar. Discovery creates attraction. But over time, the new becomes known. We stop evolving. We become familiar, even to ourselves, and desire fades. To keep it alive, we must remain individuals inside the relationship. Do things alone, travel, learn, expand. Because the more full you are as a person, the more magnetic you become to the one you love. Rebuilding connection doesn't begin with grand gestures. It begins with presence, with turning your phone face down, with making eye contact, with asking a question and truly listening. Because connection is not something we find, it's something we practice daily. Esther Perel speaks of micro moments of connection, a glance, a soft touch, an inside joke. They may seem small, but they carry the weight of intimacy. When you stop noticing your partner, you stop connecting with them. You begin to live beside them instead of with them. But reconnection is always available. It lives in the smallest choices. Start a new ritual. Sunday walks, morning coffee together, handwritten notes. Revisit shared dreams you've neglected. Share music, create a playlist, build a new memory. You don't need a relationship overhaul. You need intention. And most of all, curiosity. Ask them. What has been on your mind lately? What do you miss about us? What do you need that you're not asking for? When love becomes familiar, we stop seeing the other person as a mystery. But love thrives when we keep discovering. You are not the same person you were when you first met. Neither is your partner, so don't just fall in love with a memory. Fall in love with who they are becoming, and let them fall in love with who you're becoming too. So I want to leave you with something deeper than answers. I want to leave you with questions, because answers close loops, but questions, they open the heart. Ask yourself, when was the last time I truly saw my partner, not just looked at them? Have I become more myself in this relationship or less? Am I giving the love I want to receive? Sometimes we wait for the other person to change, to notice us, to come closer. But what if we started noticing them first, noticing their effort, their exhaustion, their quiet? Because maybe love hasn't left. Maybe it's just waiting for someone to show up again. And maybe that someone is you.